It's great meeting you all this evening. Thank you all for tuning in today for this wonderful session. We will quickly begin on, but before that, let me quickly give you a brief introduction about myself. So I'm with IBM for over 1 year, 1.5 years, I guess. Before that, I was with TCS. And a total of 7.5 years of experience into IT and 6.5 into a very successful automation engineering career. And so far, I've mentored about 150 people, both inclusive of freshers as well as experienced candidates into automation engineering or automation testing in their career. And I also help them with some mock interviews before they actually give their actual interviews so that they get the confidence and the actual experience of the interview environment. And also, I help review as well as I help build resumes, which also is a section that I'll be discussing today with all of you. And by the end of the session, you guys will be getting one template for free, which I will also walk through on how to edit the resume template with a free tool. So that will also help you. And this is my LinkedIn handle. If you guys want to speak with me post the session, or if you want any other advice apart from what we are speaking today in the session, you can very well speak with me on LinkedIn. This is my LinkedIn handle. And the next is the YouTube handle where I upload videos based on automation. So without further ado, let's begin with the session. And today, the very first thing that we will be speaking about is where to start. Because many of you guys have been asking me, ma'am, I am a fresher or I am into manual testing, and where can you tell me where I can begin my automation journey, what to learn, where to learn, all that. So we will speak of all that in the very first section of today's session. And the next is learning Selenium enough? Because Selenium has been the buzzword for over a decade now into the automation field. But is it enough or not? We will speak again on the same today. And with AI, Chat GPT, Bard AI, all in the picture, how do we always stay relevant in the market? Because with a Chat GPT and AI into play, it is like they can do all the work that we do, and how much relevance we will have in future as automation engineers. We will also speak on that, and where to practice. So this is also one other question. So you have learned all that, learned all the conceptual theories of automation, but you do not know where to practice what you have learned. So I will be sharing a few tools or websites where you can learn and practice automation. And next, so since we have gotten ourselves ready with what we have to learn is Selenium enough and what where to practice all that, now we are ready for the interview. But before going to the interview, the one thing that you will need as your very first and best tool is your resume. So I will also be sharing my resume, which landed me about 7 job offers. So that template is what I'll be sharing with you guys for free today. And we will also see how to edit it, edit and download it for yourself so that you can personalize it and customize it for your requirements and qualifications. And the last but one is how to prepare for and ace your interview. So what are the things that you have to take into your interview, take away from your interview? So all that I'll be speaking of. And the next is, now you have prepared your resume, given your interview, and you have successfully landed your job. But the next question is, how do I keep my job? How do I excel at the job? So that also some professional tips and some personal tips and tricks that I have used in my career, I'll be sharing with you guys today as well. And towards the end, we will be having Q&A sessions. Yeah. So where to start and what to learn? So here I'll be telling you, you might be hearing Java, Python, Cucumber, TestNG, Robot Framework, Cypress, Catalan. So what should I learn? Like where to start and what I have to learn. So many technologies are there out, but you need to know where to start, what is relevant to you. So firstly, I would say, know where you stand, know what your needs are. So based on that is what I'm going to give you the next few advices. So at least one programming language. Why? Because you know that in today's market, we are also having model-based testing, which means codeless automation, which everything will be served to you. You don't even have to learn anything, only how to use the tool, that will be enough. But then I personally would suggest know at least one programming language. All right. So the one programming language that I would say is start with Java or Python. If you are comfortable with Python, well and good. But if not, at least for a starter, know Java. and at least one open source automation tool. This is very, very important. Why? Because a lot of firms, be it startup or MNCs or product based firms, they usually lean towards open source, because when it comes to open source, we have easier access to it, and there is no license to be paid for it. They only have to pay for the workforce. So that is why Selenium is the buzzword for a very long time, because Selenium is an open source tool. Similarly, you have other kinds of technologies also which come as open source, like Robot Framework has been one thing that I've been recently speaking of, especially because it is open source and it comes with best documentation. And the next is at least one framework that best fits the market. So now you have learned your programming language and now you have learned Selenium. And the next is putting these two together in a framework. So you might be hearing a lot about what a Cucumber framework is, a TestNG framework is, but what actually is a framework? So framework is more like a structural format of the coding and the tool that you're using. So now you know how to use Selenium and Java to have it as a structured format. So if you have locators, if you have XPaths, if you have variables, all those will be put into separate files and in a very structured format. So one such kind of framework is Cucumber. And Cucumber is one thing that I would recommend, because in the coming slides, I will say why Cucumber is important and why it will help you improve your career as well in today's market. And that is a BDD framework. We will also speak in a bit what a BDD, TDD, and KDD is. All right. And choose either a BDD or KDD as per current market trend. So as per current market trend, currently both these are in a trend. BDD stands for behavior driven development. Why is behavior driven development so important? Especially because from a client or from your customer, they will be giving you the requirement. Say you are asked to, or you as a team, when I say you, your firm or your team has been asked to build a login page. And they are saying on the top left, I need the logo of my company. And towards the right, I need the date and time. And in the center, I need the login section where I'll be having the login username, password, and then a sign in button. So this is the requirement. So once the requirement has been given, developers are going to develop the login page and it will come to you for testing. So at that point of time, there like you would have already crossed multiple layers. Okay. So client would have shared it with your manager or your architect or product owner. If you're an agile methodology, they'll be sharing it to the product owner will be sharing it with the developers and the testers, and then towards the end you will be getting it for automation. So in that situation, what will happen is when these kinds of layers are getting passed, some requirements may go unnoticed or they might have been downtoned. So in that situation, Cucumber will be an enhancer for you. Why? Because Cucumber will help you to write a plain English. Any layman or a normal non-technical person also can understand the scenario or a feature that you have written using Cucumber. So that is why Cucumber has been preferred for quite a long time now. So with Cucumber also, you will have your, I see that few people are raising hands. If you can put your queries down on the chat, I can check and answer it. All right. Yeah, two people have raised your hands. Okay. Please do put your questions on the chat box so that I can check it out as we finish this single section and I will get it answered. Okay, let me continue. So when it comes to BDD, so this is how they call it as behavior driven development, which means you are testing the behavior of the product that has been developed. So this is why it is called behavior driven development. And similarly, when it comes to KDD, it is keyword driven development. So you are
Sorry to interrupt you, but looks like a lot of them are not able to hear your voice.
Oh, is it? Oh, I can hear you clearly, and can you hear me fine?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
can people who are not able to hear ma'am's voice raise your hand so that it'll be clear for us?
I can see that Parni Delan has said I am audible. And what about others? I saw that 2 or 3 of them had raised hands simultaneously. Okay, 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 okay. And are there any doubts for which the hands are being raised? If so, I can stop and answer your questions and I can continue later.
No. Actually, I just asked people to raise their hands who find the audio not audible.
Oh, okay, all right.
Guys, those I think for most of them it's audible. For those who's not audible, maybe like you can try logging again so that it works out.
Jagdish is suggesting that people who have joined through web are not able to hear. So if you guys could download the app, I can wait for 2 minutes and you guys can go forward and download the app and join over the Zoom app.
Yeah, I think if you guys rejoin, the audio is going to be perfect.
We'll give them 2 to 3 minutes. Yeah, yes, Hari Bhaskar, but somebody was suggesting if we are using it on web, they are not able to hear me properly. So that is why I suggested maybe if we do it on the app, it may be better. Okay, so once you guys have rejoined, please let me know if my voice is clear enough so that we can continue the session.
You can continue, ma'am. Looks
All
like,
right.
yeah.
All right then. All right. So where were we? I think we were discussing about KDD. Yeah. KDD stands for keyword driven development. Why is it in trend now? Is because keyword driven development helps people to easily use a framework. So one such example is a robot framework where we get all the documentation readily available. So I will drop in the links for all the references that I'm using right now towards the end of the session. So robot framework is one such framework where everything comes easily available to you. Even the documentation, the official documentation from robot framework itself is clear enough for you not to rely on any other tools. So yeah. So with respect to that, so with respect to BDD, you can choose Cucumber, and with respect to KDD, you can choose robot framework. Oh, am I? Yeah. Know at least one combination in depth. So the first 3 points where I said know one programming language, one open source tool, and one framework. So Selenium, Java, Cucumber is the best couple or the best combination in town. So you can choose that, and that is going to be the starting point of your automation journey. Yeah. So do you guys have any questions at this section? If not, we can jump into the next. Okay. Why not with Python? You can very well start it with Python. So with respect to Python, I would say robot framework is the best, or you can also go for PyTest. And Python, why I wouldn't suggest as a starting is because, especially, I will come to your point in a minute, Gopi Jyoti. Answering to Prince's question first, let me go back to the previous slide. Yeah. So why not Python? You can very well learn Python, but always have one most in demand and more supply combination in your hand, and then go for something that has less supply and more demand. Selenium Python combination is like less supply and more demand, which means out of the 1,000 automation engineers out there, 900 people would know Selenium plus Java. And you can be one of those hundreds who know Selenium plus Python. And when the opening comes, you can be the first of the few who are going to apply for that. All right. So let me come to the next question. Without programming language, how can we start? So if you do not want to learn programming language, In that case, I would really suggest you to start learning a programming language, at least the core concepts. So when you're going to learn Java or Python for your automation, you're not going to have to learn all the in-depth concepts. You don't have to know Spring or Stream or all that. Only the core concepts of a programming language will be sufficient for you to start automation. And that is not something very difficult. But if you do not want to learn any programming language, but you want to start your career in automation, Robot Framework is somewhere that you can start, or you can start with Kathleen, where you do not need any programming language as a backup. But definitely, if there are any out of the box scenarios which require support that cannot be provided through the framework or the tool that you're using, which is a codeless automation or model based testing, is what we call. So for that, I would suggest go for Robot Framework because the documentation is so good. So only in rare cases you may have to use Python with Robot Framework. That is with respect to Jyoti's question. And the next is, please explain about Cucumber. Yeah, what is Cucumber? Selenium plus Java. Yes, okay, okay. Uh, First about Cucumber. Cucumber is a framework, like I explained previously. Cucumber is more like you have Selenium Java or Selenium Python already learned. Okay, so Selenium Java is a combination for Cucumber, but Python has different set of frameworks. So for Selenium and Java, you've learned now, but the code that you'll be writing will be in a single class or 4 or 5 files. But you want to keep it in an organized fashion, right? So in Cucumber, you will have three different set of files. One is a feature file where you will be writing the plain English scenarios, and against each scenario or steps you will be writing your step definitions. Each step in your Cucumber's feature file will have a step definition in a .java file. And the third is the glue code between these two, which means you have this feature file where you have written your scenario in plain English in step-by-step manner. Okay. You guys, if you have doubts, I can reach out, or you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I can share how it looks, how a Cucumber framework looks. Okay. So we will have a feature file where we'll be writing few scenarios, or let me see. Okay, I don't have those right now. You will be writing one feature file in plain English and one Java file for the explanation or stepwise definition with a Java code for those scenarios or stepwise explanations. Okay, so these two files are present in Cucumber, and there is one other file called the glue code or the runner file. So which is going to help match each of the steps from your feature file to the step definition. So this is the kind of structure Cucumber is going to give you. But even without Cucumber, you can very well automate, but learning the framework is going to help you to train your juniors or get handover from your seniors. So that is why companies prefer having a framework where the code is in a very structured format. Okay. Is TestNG also included? Okay, so TestNG is also as equally good as Cucumber, but only thing that I prefer Cucumber over TestNG is because of the inbuilt reporting system from Cucumber. So with every scenario that you have written, you will be able to get an auto-generated report with which you will be able to see if a step has passed, if a step has failed, or if a step has been skipped. So that is why I prefer Cucumber over TestNG, but very well you can use TestNG also. And there are firms who are coming up to use TestNG. Excuse me. Why? Because now we have other reporting tools like we have extent reports, we have Power BI reporting systems. So the only upside that I have seen with Cucumber is that we have a reporting system. But now if TestNG is taking an upper hand, it is solely because there are other reporting tools available for us as open source from the market itself. Okay. Yes, Selenium Java TestNG is good. Can you provide list of core Java concepts to learn Selenium? What is a trending automation tool? Automation tool, it has always been Selenium. It will always be Selenium for a few more days, but we will see if Selenium is enough in the next session. All right, so I think I've covered difference between Cucumber or TestNG, feature file, step definition. Finally, write Cucumber options. Yeah, Sai Kumar, exactly. The Cucumber options is nothing but the runner or the glue code that I was speaking about. And what is KDD and BDD? Yeah, KDD stands for keyword driven development, where you will be writing code based on the keywords. Okay, let me quickly show you if that is possible. Okay. Yeah. So When I said robot framework is a keyword driven development framework, so you can see here. So this is the Selenium library robot framework documentation. So this is how clearly you will get the documentation when it comes to a keyword driven development framework. So if you go here now, say through automation, the first thing that you're going to do is open a browser, right? So when you're explaining somebody what is the first step, you will say open the browser, correct? So you can go and simply type open and you will be able to see open browser. So this is how a normal English based framework is present in a robot framework. Okay, so this is called a keyword driven development. Similarly, when it comes to Cucumber, let me show you sample Cucumber feature file. Yeah, so the language that is used in Cucumber is called as a Gherkin. Okay, yeah, so this is how a feature file would look. So you will be writing a feature file, and that feature file will be containing multiple scenarios. So what is the scenario that they are doing? Marker starts again, and when marker starts again, then the marker starts for a breaker to join. Okay, let's not speak like this. Let's say we are logging into Google or Gmail. So the scenario will be Gmail login. So here, what we will be writing is when the user logs in with valid username and password, then the user should be taken to Gmail inbox. So that is how in plain English you will be writing a feature file. And this is the Cucumber's behavior driven development. And this is robot framework's keyword driven development. Okay, so let's go back to the slides. How will I convert JSON to JVM file to get report? Okay, that is more of a technical question, Sai Kumar. Probably I'll take it out of this session or on my LinkedIn. You can reach out to me and I can speak on this. This is a more technical topic, which is out of the context of today's session. Whether it's a framework or programming language. Cucumber is a framework, Java is the programming language, Selenium is the tool or the library, to Amit Kumar's question. Okay. So more technical questions, I will be taking it out of this session. Can we need server-based for, yeah. So SQL, yes, definitely. We will be covering that shortly in the session to Yashwant's question. If I'm missing some questions, it is solely because it is more technical. Haribhaskar, I'll take your question also out because we have spoken enough about Cucumber and TestNG, I believe. Yeah, okay. Screen not sharing. Dharan is not able to see the screen. Are others able to see my screen? Okay, just give me 1 second. Can you see my screen now? Is my screen visible now with robot framework Selenium library? Okay, okay, okay. So this is what I was saying. Sorry, the screen share was not working. Right. So now if you see, this is the robot framework Selenium library. And here are the list of keywords that you can use as part of Selenium. So similar to Selenium, you have other libraries as well with which you can use on a robot framework. And as I was saying, the very first step towards opening a browser is opening the browser itself. So you can simply type open and you will be able to see open browser here. Okay. And once you click on this towards the right, you will be able to see all the arguments that are to be given, the documentation for it, and along with what type of browsers this support. And along with that, you will get a large list of documentation with which you can understand how it works. And they also provide good examples. So this is why I said robot framework has very good documentation compared to any other frameworks. All right. And yeah, so this is just one example. While learning robot framework, when I take any session which is mostly focused towards robot framework, I can say I can speak more about this. But now since we are having a more generalized topic, we will limit to less technical questions and more generic questions regarding automation career. Okay, and with respect to Cucumber, this is the feature file that I was speaking about. You will be writing multiple scenarios here. And with respect to each scenario, for example, let us take that you are logging into your Gmail account. The scenario will be called as Gmail login. And we will be writing when and then statements like when the user logs in with valid username and password, then the user should be taken into the Gmail inbox. Okay, so that is how a scenario based or behavior based framework a Cucumber is. And similar to that, this is keyword driven development, and that is what robot framework is. Okay. So yeah. Um, what about Cypress and Playwright? Yeah. I will speak of Cypress and Playwright privately to you. Is Selenium good enough for Angular based applications? Pramod? Yes. This is again more technical question, but based on Angular, I have worked on web development as well. I would say yes. So only thing is you will have dynamic data generated when you're using frameworks like Angular or React. So that you will have to mitigate using any other, what do I say, attributes. Other than that, I guess, yeah, Selenium is good enough for Angular based applications. So what about Cypress and Playwright? Jagdish, I'll take this with you offline. And any other questions? Now it's visible. Repeat from KDD. I think I just did. Is BDD a method or framework? BDD is a framework. So BDD is more like, what do I say? It's a concept. It is a kind of development. So BDD, KDD, and TDD. So TD is test data driven development. Okay. And BDD is behavior driven development. KDD is keyword driven development. So it is a concept of different types of development. Okay. Is there any opportunity like .NET developer in automation testing? No, not right now. If you are asking for a more career-based question, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. It is the same name on my LinkedIn as Sreenidhi Rajakrishnan. Syllabus list for Java, I believe that you're asking. So core Java, I would say learn classes, objects, the OOPS concepts, object overloading, object overriding, method overloading, method overriding, and abstraction, interfaces. Interfaces is very important. Why? Because Selenium starts with interfaces. So it is better that you learn interfaces. What else? If you're asking more of a interview based, then I would say learn string buffer, string builder, and the collections, map, list, set, hash maps, tree, all that. So arrays, list, maps, all these will help you when you are doing a bigger automation. So not just logging in, but then you will have lot of, as your career progresses, you will have much more data to handle. At that time, collections will help you. As a fresher in automation testing, can I start my career in API testing? I am coming to API testing shortly, Rishikesh. Yes, I will give you a roadmap shortly. How is it related to Cucumber? Cucumber is a framework. So again, I will probably take a session on Cucumber and robot framework for you guys to understand. So Cucumber is going to merely give you a framework or a structure, okay, where your code will be split into 3 different files. Instead of writing a single large Java file, you will write 3 different files. One will be your feature file, one will be the step definition where the actual code is present, and the other will be the glue code or a runner file, which is nothing but the attachment between the feature file, which consists of the English language steps, and the step definition file, which has the Java coding. Okay, so this is the basic structure that Cucumber gives you, but I can give you a more elaborate answer when you can connect with me offline on LinkedIn. TDE is test-driven development. Yes. Are BDD and Cucumber related? Yes, Cucumber is one framework which implements BDD. Learning point of view, ma'am, please take the questions at last. Okay, all right, I'll take the questions at last. Okay, just let me close with this. I'm planning to start my career. Okay, career-based questions I'll take towards the end. With respect to each sections, I would like to answer it then and there, but please keep it towards the content in the slide, but not more technical. Amit, point taken. Amit, yes, Amit Patel, point taken. Yeah, jumping back to the slide. Jyoti Nachyar, let me take this question towards the end. Please hold your question towards the end because it is a career-based question. All right. So now, where to start, what to learn? We are done with this. Okay, is Selenium enough? Like somebody was already asking, what about API? So it still doesn't stop with API also. Why is Selenium not enough? Let me tell you. So Selenium is only to test a front end of an application, which is nothing but the UI. And again, Selenium can only access the applications which are within the web. which means any application that can be opened within Google Chrome or Firefox or Internet Explorer, only that Selenium is capable of testing or accessing. So doing a Selenium course alone will not stop, or alone will not suffice or be enough for you to call yourself an automation engineer. Selenium is merely a part of testing, okay, but not the entire phase of testing. Again, Selenium can only automate the web UI. And let me tell you why you need to learn agile methodology. But before that, let me take the last point first. What about the backend and middleware testing? I will come to point number 3 and 4 in a bit. But before that, let me speak a little bit about what is a backend and middleware. So when somebody is hiring you, say you have 1 to 2 years of experience, then yes, they'll be happy that you have UI automation experience. But then you have 3 to 4 years or 3 to 5 years or more than that, they will expect you to know a minimum of API testing also. Why? Because immediately. So here I did, right. So you can see I went to Google, I searched for this. Yeah. So if you see, I searched for robot framework Selenium library. And as soon as I clicked on this link, it took me to another web page, right? So this again is Google Chrome that I'm using right now. So what I did, I clicked on a button and that button took me to another link. Who is doing this activity? API is doing this activity. API is nothing but the middle layer between the back end. So what is a back end? Back end is the storage area where you're putting all your information in, or the logic where the manipulation or calculation, all that is happening. Okay. So you need to definitely know the front end as well as back end and the middleware. So the middle layer is called the API. So one person was asking, can I start my career in API testing? Yes, you can start your career in API testing. API hiring is also at higher levels these days. And API testing can also be achieved in Java as well as Python. You can use the rest assured libraries for Java. And yeah. And what about the backend? So backend these days, in initial days, backend data was database, SQL database. But now we are moving away from SQL to NoSQL databases, which are mostly residing in the cloud. So that is why I would say, before starting your career into automation or before jumping into another role, always be prepared about UI automation, API automation, and cloud or SQL automation. So I think I had received one question on SQL and PL/SQL as well. So that is why I say learn API automation as well as database automation and cloud automation. So this is where you can reach towards a point where you can say, okay, I have a good experience in automation. But again, we have AI and ML related automations also available, which can be mostly achieved through Python, as Python has become one of the most powerful languages out there, which can handle both artificial intelligence and machine learning. And before that, let me speak about agile methodology. So now you know everything about automation. You have learned automation, you have learned API automation, you have learned database automation, you have learned cloud automation, all that. But you need to know how to work in an environment. And that is why this, what do I say, agile methodology or waterfall methodology comes into play. But now waterfall methodology has almost retired and we are into agile methodology. So we need something more than automation to actually get into the field of software engineering. So that is why I say learn something about agile methodology, learn how Scrum works, learn how your like ceremonies they call. I don't want to get more technically into agile methodology, but at least know the basics of what it is. Because in interviews, you tend to get these kinds of questions. Do you know agile? Have you worked in agile? Do you know what Scrum is? Do you know what stand up is? All that. So always have at least a read through of these kinds of common questions that you will run in an interview too. And learn CICT. I had specifically called it as CICT, especially because we are testers and we will be asked to do continuous integration and continuous testing. So what is continuous integration? Continuous integration is merely you are writing code and tomorrow you will update your code. So today's code and tomorrow's code you will integrate continuously, like tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and the day next to that, all that. So that is continuously you are integrating your code on top of what was already present. And then you have to continuously test your code. So this is when the code integration you will have to do it with GitHub, learn Git commands, and then do the continuous testing through Jenkins. So Jenkins is one of the platforms which you will have to learn when you're using Git. So these are some basic things that I have experienced whenever I am interviewing candidates. I'll be given the requirements, right? I'll be given a job description. I'll be given a set of requirements, and what are the requirements that a candidate has to satisfy in order to get into a role of automation engineers. So these are the checklists that I have usually got across multiple firms. Yeah. And towards the end, always learn to read and write data from and into Excel sheet. Excel sheet, I know it has been like our grandfather's technology, but still to date, Excel is the most comfortable data read and write tool most of the companies use. Excel is also getting updated. Excel is also now compatible. If you guys know, recently Excel added a tab called Automate. So that is how much we have infiltrated into every technology possible. So Excel has been having its own automation only through VB script, where we can do the coding. But now, recently, Excel has introduced, recently means not immediately. It was in 2020 when Excel came up with a tab called Automate. If you have Office 365 license, you will be able to see one tab called Automate next to your developer tab. That is using Office scripts, which is based out of JavaScript and TypeScript. So if you know Java, if you know Python, TypeScript and JavaScript are just piece of cake for you guys. So that is, again, I would say learn how to read and write Excel, especially because the data is mostly drawn from Excel. So a lot of people are still comfortable in storing their data into an Excel sheet. And then we will read the data from Excel sheet, validate it against the application, and then write it back to Excel sheet saying these are the data mismatches that we have found. So this is again possible through Java, Python, and most of the languages support reading and writing to Excel sheets. All right. So yeah, again, API, DB, cloud automation. So that is what is going to help you like stand out. Some people may say okay, I'm a UI tester, I'm a UI automation engineer, but they might not know API, they might not know DB automation, they might not know cloud automation. But when you come as a whole package, you will be preferred out of the whole lot who are present in the market, readily available. So make your chances higher to get hired. Now, how to always stay market relevant? Now, with ChatGPT, Bard AI on the way, we will be thinking, okay, ChatGPT is already doing all the work that I can do. So how can I stay relevant here? So even though ChatGPT can do most of the work, you should know what to ask to them, right? So ChatGPT cannot just sit there idly saying, only we have to feed what we have to get out of it. So always know what kind of loopholes are there. We will speak about that in a bit. Excuse me. Yeah. So like I said previously, be more confident or strong, have in-depth knowledge in at least one open source tool. On today's market trend, I'm telling you, either have Selenium or APM, either web UI or mobile automation. These two is a must for you to have, along with whatever else you have, but stay strong in at least one of these. And then never stop upskilling. So this is one of the most underrated advices that I've ever got or given. Always keep studying, keep learning the new technologies, because when I started my career in automation testing, VB script, UFT was the like one of the most needed technologies, and I had to sit and learn. But if I had sat comfortably there saying I know UFT, that is one of the needed technologies in the market today, no, Selenium has come up, APM has come up, Cucumber has come up, robot framework has come up. Robot framework is one of the latest technologies in there. So you have to always keep upskilling so that people will know that you are staying market relevant always. And yeah, keep yourself one step ahead of the crowd. Whenever you are progressing in your career, you will be expected to train people, right? So whenever you are training others, training your juniors or seniors or colleagues, you should always teach them everything you know, but learn something new, so that you will stand out and you will stay safe in the crowd and know the AI's capabilities and loopholes. So with respect to ChatGPT, there's only so much that you can do. Not everything is available at ChatGPT, but then know how to use it, because not very long you will be asked in an interview that do you know to use ChatGPT? Because with Selenium, with automation itself is one of the ancient terms of the ChatGPT, what it is doing today. The automated replies. So it itself is a kind of automation that it has evolved into a separate field called artificial intelligence. So what we are doing is a smaller subset of what is present already out there. Yeah. Be an E2E automation engineer. Do not restrict yourself to UI. Exactly what I was speaking about in the previous slides. Know at least more than two automation fields. API, UI, must have. And then good to have your cloud automation and DB automation. All right. So when you know cloud automation, you will get exposure to lot other things in cloud. Like you will know what a MongoDB is, you will know what a Cosmos DB is. That is how I got exposed to all this. And today I can proudly say I know what Cosmos DB is, I know how it works, I know MongoDB, I know how it works, I know how to query the databases of NoSQL servers. So that is how you have to put yourself out there, saying you can learn. And only with learning you can stay market relevant always, and you can stay ahead always. All right. So let me go through some questions before we jump in. But before that, let me see where I'm speaking. Yeah. So yeah. Let me quickly go through this and then take the questions so that I can put the slide in there so that whoever wants to note this down can note it down. We were speaking of all the things that we have to do to learn automation and to excel in automation, but this is where we can try our hands on after learning all the concepts. So these are the few websites that you can use. You can probably take a screenshot of this and have it for yourself. And this is the first three where you can actually try your UI automation practices. You will have all the drop down options, the radio button options, new window, child window, all those concepts these people have examples for. And source demo is more like a login page where you can try your very first hand on an entire automation program. And the next is free APIs. So in my previous sessions, few people were asking, where can I practice API automation? So these three websites will give you a few APIs with a get, put, patch, delete, all that. So you can simply use the APIs. These, I think, do not come with any key, so you don't have to worry about the authentication and stuff. You can very well go ahead and start practicing your API automation here. So if you guys want to take some screenshot of this, you can take the screenshot and use it. Or if you want me to share it on your LinkedIn, just share a hi with me on LinkedIn. I'll share the entire list of URLs to you. And the next and most important. So now that you have, you have gotten yourself ready, you have learned automation, you have done all the hands-on, and now you want to prepare for your interview, correct? And few of you had asked me to post some interview questions as well, which I will discuss with you towards the end of this session. So probably I'll share it for Selenium and Java. And if you want the questions for Selenium, Python, or any other frameworks or technologies, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn and I can be very, very happy to share those with you. So starting with resume. So why am I saying that resume is your best shot at even getting a single interview call? Because see, as a hiring personnel, so sometimes there are companies where HR is the first person to contact you, and HR is not definitely going to be a technical person who is going to understand what skills you have. So what will happen is they'll be given a set of skills, and they'll be looking at each of the words and seeing if that word matches with the words on your resume. So that is not going to be a paragraph. Rather, it will be a set of skills, single words or single sentence like that. So what I would suggest is always put your skills on top. Okay. Now, so firstly, mention your skills in a separate section and keep that in one of the top sections of your resume. Keep it to the point. Do not write paragraphs or essays about your previous projects or previous role assignments. Instead, put those in bullet points where they will be easy to look at it and, okay, this candidate is having so much experience and this is what he has done. So that is how it should be. Your resume should be easily readable rather than being very elaborate. And highlight what you want the recruiter to see first. So say, for instance, you are very confident in UI automation. Say you're confident in API automation, but not very confident in cloud automation. So put cloud automation towards the end and UI automation and API automation towards the top. Okay. And then speak of your achievements. Don't shy away from doing this. If you have done certifications, if you have been awarded with some awards, always call that out in your resume. Never shy away from mentioning your least work technologies. Excuse me. So say, for instance, you have worked only very less on your cloud automation or API automation, but do not restrict yourself from mentioning that. Okay, maybe that is a secondary or third level of skill that is expected in that particular job description. Always get the job description, read the job description, and see if you are the perfect person to do it. And then call out the skills that you have from most confident to least confident. So rank your skills from the most confident to least confident, but never miss out on calling out your skills. Always mention the skills that you have regarding any automation technology that you've worked on. So the next slide is what I'm going to show you about my resume. So this is the resume that I have used before I tried in my previous set of job search. So this is the resume that I used, exactly what I used. I did not remove or filter out anything except for my contact details. So here you can see how I have designed my resume. I've put my name and my role in the top left. To the right is my contact information. So if they find out that my profile matches, they should be immediately able to reach to me. So that is why I put my contact details on the top right corner. And then immediately the next section is the technical skills. So you can see how I have separated each of the sections. So automation is my primary skill, right? So if they want to know whether this profile is for automation, so under automation, I'm going to call out what all skills I have. UI automation, with UI, I have Selenium and securely. With database, I have SQL and NoSQL. Similarly, automation, when you say, you should be having experience in quality assurance as well. So when you say quality assurance, it is the domain that you're working for. Automation is a technology and quality assurance is the domain that you're working for. So within quality assurance, you may have used multiple tools. What kind of tools that you have used and what kind of work that you have done. Call all those out in that section. And then come to the tools and technologies. Specifically, what are the technologies that you have worked on? So when I said automation, it is the areas that you have worked on. Quality assurance, depending on what you have done in your domain, call out the set of what do I say? ALM, Jira, UT, UIT, all that is there, right? So those are the different areas within quality assurance which you have worked on. And in tools and technologies is where I'm going to call out any miscellaneous tools that do not fall under automation or quality assurance. And then the programming languages. So bring it from top to bottom. So I then at that point of time, I was confident in Gremlin and NoSQL. NoSQL is Cosmos DB, MongoDB, so all that is there, right? So those DBs are called as NoSQL because they do not use the SQL language. And then Core Java, SQL, and all that. Next is Azure tools. I was working in cloud automation in Azure. So I got my opportunity to work on different tools within Azure. Even though I was doing cloud automation, I will be exposed to these technologies, right? So before you test anything, you will learn what the functionality of the application that you're going to test. So that is how I learned all this. So this is how mainly you should design your resume. So I will share the template link for this resume with which you can modify this resume to your liking and your requirement and your qualification. So this is the link to the resume which I will now be sharing in the chat. So this is completely free of cost. I know last slide just for screenshot. Okay, sure. 1 second, Saurabh. I'm just sharing that with you. This is the template link, but let me bring out the practice. Saurabh, please ping me as soon as you have completed taking a screenshot. Saurabh, I hope you would have taken a screenshot. If not, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll share all the links with you. All right. So moving on, I have shared the link. Second one. Oh, you want a screenshot of my resume? Is it? Okay. So this is with respect to the resume. These are the steps while writing your resume. Got it. All right. Perfect. So now let me briefly tell you how to use this template. Okay. It doesn't end with me just sharing the template with you. Correct. So once you have opened this, you will be able to see that use this template. A template shared by Sri was shared with you. Start designing now. So you can simply click on use template and you will be taken into this particular tool called Canva. So if many of you already know Canva, well and good. If not, Canva is more like a graphic designing tool. which I personally use because this comes with pro as well as free version. I have been using the free version. So this entire resume is designed with all the free tools present. So you don't have to worry about while downloading if it is going to ask you any, no, nothing. So you can simply log in or sign in or sign up using your Gmail, and you will be taken to this page. Can you please send the whole PPT once the session is done? Yes, I will be posting that on my LinkedIn once the entire session is done. All right, Abhinay. So you can go on and double click on each of the section and you will be able to update with your personal data. Okay. So this is a template of what I was using while I was hunting for a job like 2-3 years back. All right. So this would help, I guess. So this is the template. You can use the template. The template link is not going to expire or anything. And please share your LinkedIn ID. Yes, LinkedIn ID, I'll be sharing it towards the end. It is the same name. It is Sreenidhi Rajakrishnan. You can share, you can search. And will the recording be shared? I guess, yes, Guvi will be sharing the recording with you guys. All right. Please share the link of the resume. Yes, that is what I did. You guys did not see. Let me share it again with you. So this is the template. Oh, is it? Oh, sorry. Okay. I guess it should be present now. Okay, I can see a message from Manjunath saying only 9 slots left for the pre-boot camp. So you guys can start registering for that as well simultaneously. And yeah, coming back to the resume. And if you want to, this is one of the tools that I have been personally using for a very long time. And if you think this resume I have designed against Indian recruiting requirements. But towards the left, you will also be able to see other templates. But if there is a crown symbol here, which means you may have to pay to get this template, but there are other free templates as well, which you can use. However, this is the template link, which I've shared with you for free as part of this session. All right. So I'm going back. So I guess you guys are okay with what I've shared so far. And let's move on. Okay. So if you guys have any doubts, you can reach out to me. Sreenidhi Rajakrishnan is my LinkedIn handle as well as my YouTube channel. So you guys can check that out. And how to prepare for your interview. Now you have learned automation, you have practiced automation, you have prepared your resume. Now how to prepare for the interview. So always read the job description that is given to you, because in the job description is what they are going to speak to you about the requirements that they have and what they are looking out of a candidate. So in that case, now you have read the job description very, very carefully, see what the job description is, how many years of experience that they are looking out, and what all technologies they are looking out for, and learn about the recruiter or interviewer. So this is one thing that I have been practicing ever since I started looking for a job. And that has always helped me to have an idea of who is going to interview me. So usually before any interview, you will be having a meeting invite where they'll be mentioning this person is going to interview you, or that a person is going to interview you, or a set of people are going to speak with. So usually what I do is I go on LinkedIn, I search their name and I'll go through their profile. I see how much proficiency that they have and what kind of questions that I can expect from a person with so and so experience. So that is one thing that has helped me to be prepared. Okay, this is the person who's going to interview me, and this is the level of experience that he has, and this is the field that he has worked on, and these are the set of questions that I can expect out of it. So that is one kind of preparation that I do. And revise before your interview. Revise before your interview for the notes you write during the learning phase. So this is one thing that I do, where I write notes when I learn something. So when I'm learning, I always have a practice of writing notes. Why? Because only I know what I need to remember, because the courses that you have online is a generic course. But as you saw that from Guvi, they are also providing one-to-one doubt clarification. There are very less platforms which do that. But for me, at the point of time where I was learning, I did not have such an opportunity. So for me, it was like writing notes where I highlight what I shouldn't forget and what was important to me. And that was the one thing that was easy when I was revising for my interviews. And Google the most asked questions. Like as an immediate revision, as a last minute revision, always keep this as a practice. Google the most asked questions always in your technology. And the search term should be like automation engineer, Selenium, Java, 3 to 4 years of experience, or 1 to 2 years of experience. You will get tailor-made questions in the Google search itself. And attend mock interviews. This is one of the most underrated things or advices I've got, which I did not use at all. I never attended mock interviews. So what happened eventually? I had to fail at actual interviews. That is where my learning started. I was failing at actual interviews, because of which I lost a chance with the company. With every attempt that you're giving for a company, at least the next 3 to 6 months, you won't be able to re-attempt the same company. So what I suggest is always go for mock interviews before attempting your actual interviews, and learn from where you failed. So immediately after every interview, if you know you have answered some question incorrectly or did not know how to answer the question, immediately, because that is when you have your memory afresh. So go Google it, note down the answer, learn about it immediately. Because if you are saying, okay, I have attended an interview, I am very tired, I'm going to sleep. Tomorrow morning, you may not have the memory of what question you failed at. So always immediately after your interview, learn from where you failed. And again, so this is something that I did after I failed 1 or 2 interviews when I first started hunting for a job. So I missed 2 big companies. So the next time when I was accepting interviews, I made sure I was attempting my less needed companies first and most needed companies towards the end. With every interview that you attend, you always have something to learn. So always ask the interviewer, if you know that you have answered a question incorrectly, or you do not know the question, do not know the answer for the question, towards the end, ask the interviewer. So this is what I answered, but what did you find wrong in the answer, so that I can learn and correct myself. So that is something that will help you definitely to improve your knowledge, as well as improve or give the impression to the interviewer that you are ready to learn and improve yourself. And that is also going to give you a positive outlook from the interviewer towards you. Yes. So now you have landed your job. So this is something for the experienced professionals, and I'm going to say a few things which I personally did to stand out of my entire team. So my team was around 150, 200 people. So I had to do something to stand out. So to do that. So these are the certain things that I already practiced and did. I made sure that I projected, if somebody is going to come and say a new application has come in, and but I don't have the expertise within the team. So what I do, I say, I'm ready to learn. So always keep your head high and say you're ready to learn. Excuse me. Provide your opinions on where you say automation can be implemented. So when it comes to automation projects, very few managers are aware of what automation technologies are. So immediately what they wouldn't know where to suggest automation. So you bring yourself forward and tell them, these are the applications that can be automated, these are the applications that cannot be automated and can be done through manual testing. However, these are the things that can definitely be achieved through automation. And next, Google your problems. Don't underestimate this at all. So if you are stuck somewhere, ask Google immediately. Before you go for help, ask Google, because definitely millions of people would have already faced the issue that you are currently facing. And even in Google, you may not be able to find the topmost answer, but now with ChatGPT, it is going to be much more easy. You can literally say, this is where I'm stuck, this is where I'm stuck, and this is the error I'm getting. And Google or ChatGPT is going to tell you, okay, this is where you need to fix your code. So it is that easy these days once you have landed your job. And train your juniors. After all, teaching is the best way of learning. So this is what I did to progress my career. In my previous session, one of the questions that I was asked is, so you have learned so much, but how do you keep remembering everything? So one thing, today I work in Selenium Java, Selenium Python, but Selenium Java, I was working until before 2 years. So for the past 2 years, what I have been doing is to keep myself always in the memory with Selenium Java. I teach people. I speak more about Selenium Java on LinkedIn. You may see very less posts regarding Python in LinkedIn, solely because a little selfish of me, I am revising Selenium Java side by side. When I teach, also people ask me, "Can you teach me Selenium Java?" Of course I can, because that is the way that I have been keeping my memory fresh. Yeah, and learn how to showcase your work. Never, never, never shy away from showcasing or projecting what you have done. So that is going to give the confidence across your team that this person has done so much. And with automation, for us, it may sound simple, or you know what is happening, but to many people, it is like magic. So show your magic. It is going to be your magic show, which you're going to show to your audience. So be proud of what you have done, be proud of what you have achieved, and showcase your work. Never, never, like, don't have the, we have this saying, right? What is this? Im- uh, im- Imposter syndrome. Yeah. Don't have that. Imposter syndrome means you have done something very great, but you feel that you, should I say this? Should I project this? Yes, you should. In IT industry, to keep your job safe, to keep you ahead of the crowd, you must always project yourself. You must showcase what you have done, and rely on reporting tools. When I said showcase yourself, the only way that you can make everyone understand what you have done is you have to report. You have to, report is like more a statistical way of showing what you have achieved, and that is a one language that everyone is going to understand. So when somebody looks at a report, they will know, oh, this person has achieved, like, automating like 100 test cases out of the 110 test cases that we had. So that is why reporting is very important. That is why I was suggesting Cucumber for a framework. Why? Because the report is so well tailored that it can communicate easily with people. And if not Cucumber, you can very well go for extent reports. So extent reports is more like a Selenium, which is an external tool which can be integrated in Java and can be made use of while showcasing your work. And with Cucumber reports, you may not be able to customize the report where you cannot bring the data that you are working on. But with extent reports, you can bring out the data that you are working on. So yeah, I think, and yeah, ask for regular feedbacks from your peers and managers so that you will know where you can improve, and they will also know that you are in an improvement mindset, you are in a learning mindset. Learn from your mistakes always.